Right, today we're talking about subject trees. So in EPrints, a subject tree is a little bit of a misnomer. It's any kind of structured, controlled vocabulary. Typically, a repository will have one or more subject taxonomies and perhaps an institutional, departmental hierarchy, and these can be browsed by. So when EPrints comes out the box, this is the standard test data. The standard test data is the Library of Congress subject tree, and this is the browse view on this with the standard EPrints test data. We also have browse by divisions, and as you can see there's only one item that's tagged with a division, but we can already see this kind of bulleted structure appearing here too. What does this look like when we are depositing? So if I edit one of these new items, in the details tag by default, again this is all configurable, we have this kind of list view on a hierarchy where we have the parent node and then a colon and then a child node appears. And this is a nice kind of compact way to view it for small subject trees. And then we also have this other view, this other input component, which allows you to kind of browse the tree, add and remove items, search through the subject tree for specific things you're looking to, and this is more useful for larger, heavier weight trees. So how do we manage these? Well, so let's imagine that, looking back at the details page, that one of our departments has changed its name. There's not a broad structural change, but let's say this the School of Physics has changed its name, and they've asked us to apply that change. So there is a tool in EPrints as an administrator that you'll have access to, which is the Edit Subject tool. Now, this can be a bit clunky, and there are a couple of things you need to get used to about using this. You have to browse to the item itself. So as we're walking down the tree, we can see the children here, and engineering, science, and mathematics, and then inside that we have the School of Physics. Now, every subject has a number of important properties. So the subject has an ID, and is the ID visible? Yes. So the ID of the subject is SCFI, and this is what's actually stored inside EPrints. The name of the human readable name is stored as essentially a phrase, and you can define them in multiple languages if you have a multilingual repository. So we're going to rename this Physics and Particles and save the changes. So the other property these have is whether this thing is depositable. That is to say, whether when you're depositing an ePrint you can associate it with this particular node on the subject tree. So we'll save those changes, and if we look back in our Manage Deposit screen, we can see that when we're choosing this, our new name, School of Physics and Particles, has appeared here. Well, what if the Faculty of Engineering, Science and Mathematics had a new department? Let's create one using the same tool. So Faculty of Engineering, Science and Mathematics. Well, let's stick one in Health and Medicine. So we can see we've got Biological Science, Medicine, Psychology, and another Life Science, Biological Sciences. If we want to create a new item, what we have to do is we have to choose an ID for it first to create it here. So it's always a good idea to use a consistent naming scheme. So let's have a look at one of the siblings to check. So School of Psychology is SCPSI. So if we go back up to here, we're going to create a SCA alt-med. We created that, and we currently have it. We can see we're here. It's untitled. We need to give it a name. School of Alternative Medicine, and that's in English. And we're saying yes, people can add items. We save the changes. So we've now added a new node to the subject tree. If we look, manage deposits, new item, details, we can see we have the School of Alternative Medicine appearing here. So that's all well and good, but this tool is really very well suited to making minor tweaks to your subject tree. But if you have major changes to make, it would take forever to add 100 new subjects using this tool. So what I want to do is switch over to the command line and talk a little bit about the subjects format that's used for importing bulk formats. So every line in this file that doesn't have a hash in it is the definition of an item, a node in our subject tree. So we have this colon separated format here, which is the ID of the subject, the human readable name. This format can't do multilingual repositories. You'll have to use XML for that, and that's beyond the scope of what we're looking at today. What sits above it, what the parent node of this item is. So this for the nodes at the very top of the tree, the university structure, for example, being one, there's nothing above that. We have this special keyword root, and then finally a 0 if it is not depositable, and a 1 if it is depositable. So, for example, this line here, this is the school, has an ID SCAEng. It's the School of Engineering. Its parent is the Faculty of Engineering, and you can deposit things to it. So supposing we had a university that looked like this. Here's something I made earlier. This is the University of Lilliput. It has 3 faculties, and there are a number of departments inside these faculties. Here's another way perhaps of looking at it. Where each row shows a department, what its parent is, and what that parent is. So let's take this and copy it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new set of divisions with the power of copy and paste. Oops, I spelled university wrong. But we'll use divisions. University Lilliput. This is the root, and it is not depositable. Then we have 3 faculties. And we'll say people can deposit in faculties. and then the department. So one thing to note is that these IDs have to be unique across all trees. So we have also, if we have a subject tree as well as a divisions tree, then the IDs have to be unique globally across all subject trees, so there isn't any duplicates and crossover, which is one argument for having a good naming scheme and perhaps prefixes to show which tree things belong to. Where am I? Psychology. Big Indian. So in far less time than it would have taken using the front end tool, we've created our subject tree. Let's just sanity check it quickly. Fact Indian. Factual. So these. Oh, there you go. Okay, so then we need to run a script to import subjects. Now, if you don't define a subject file, it will just take this default one called subjects that we've just edited. You have to be aware it's going to remove everything in there and put everything in. Right. Re-put everything in. So it's done importing and indexing, and we now have, if we go back to manage deposits, so we now have our faculty and departments that can be selected here. So we've just created our new divisions tree. So the problem with this approach is that if you've made changes using the front end tool and then you need to make bulk changes in the back end, how do you get that data out? Well, there's a script for that too. If we run export, so subjects are just a standard data object, just like a user or an EPrint, and so we can export these using various formats. And that's using the export script. And if we run that without any arguments, it will give us some hints. We'll give it the we'll give it the repository ID, which is, what was it, birdhouse, and the dataset ID, which is the subject dataset. Now, if we don't give it the plugin, what it will do is it will tell us which exporters are available for it. So, for example, we could export this as CSV, and out it comes. We can see this this stuff we created. But what we're really interested in is bringing it out as the standard subject, this colon separated format, which is this subjects file one. So if you are doing multilingual, you should probably use XML and manipulate the XML that comes out, because when you have a name, you can define it multiple times in multiple different languages. So if you were building a subject tree, you could do it with XML, and this is importable as well. But let's use subject now. This isn't going to work because there's a bug in the current version of EPrints. This has been present in EPrints 3.3.13 and 3.3.14. I found it today while preparing for this video, and I will now fix it quickly. I've got a pull request in GitHub. EPrints. So there are numerous ways to fix it. The easiest way to fix it is with that. 3.3.15 should have that sorted out. If we run this again, it comes out as we expect it to. So let's redirect that into a file. So you can see this is not ordered as we might hope. This is ordered, I believe, alphabetically, or alphabetically with uppercase coming before lowercase, and that's not necessarily ideal. So there might be some shifting around of things to organize it. So if I were managing divisions, I'd kind of go in and pull out, and I've done this numerous times, then pull out the faculties, then pull out the departments. So I've got everything here, and then I'd arrange things. So this is under Indian Studies. This is the other Indian Studies. Maybe I break these up a bit. So there's another geography one. So this kind of represents my tree a little more visually. And then if I wanted to modify one of these, so kind of pulling it out, modifying it, and pushing it back in, is a way of making sure that this subject file is a copy of what's in the database. So combining these two approaches, this export and import allows you to combine these two approaches whenever it's appropriate. So if you do want to use the command line to do bulk changes, export it first, make the changes, and then import it again. And I think that's pretty much covers all you need to know about maintaining your subject tree in EPrints.